and I'm smoking on platinum. Got my eye on the prize so I don't do distractions. I'm coming back.
Yo, what it do? It's your boys Juice and Loon. We back here with another episode for y'all. Number
Yes, sir.
7. Man, we got our boy Austin back. We on another football talks. Free agency just ended, and the moves, man, we just couldn't wait to talk about it. So, without further ado, Jay Lou, go ahead, get us started. Let's get it.
Like you said, we got Austin back on the show, Football Top. Today, we got biggest winners and losers to start off this segment for the free agency of the NFL. There was a lot of moves. Some were questionable by some teams, and others were really good moves, really good signings. So I want to hear Austin's go first for his biggest winners and losers so far in free agency.
So I actually went back and forth on a few teams for the winner spot because I don't think there were too many losers this year due to the cap. There's not too many people signing bad contracts. A lot of them are one-year deals. But for the winners, the number one winner, I mean, who else can you say besides New England? I mean, New England signed damn near half the league in this free agency period. I mean, they signed Matt Judon. They signed Nelson Aguilar, Jonnu Smith, Hunter Henry, Kendrick Bourne, who's a good route running receiver who's played for the Niners since 2017. He hasn't really been a focal point of their offense, but I think he'll be a solid addition to New England. They signed who else did they signed? They signed Kyle Van Noy back, who played really good with them, got a massive deal from the Dolphins and got cut 1 year into it. So he's back in New England, and I think he'll thrive back under Bill Belichick's defense. I think the second biggest winner of free agency is the Giants. The Giants, not only did they go out and sign the best receiver in the class in Kenny Golladay, they signed him to a 4-year, was a $72 million deal. Props to them. As an Eagles fan, that stings because that means we have to deal with the other 3 teams in the division with easy number 1 receivers and Amari Cooper, now Kenny Golladay and Terry McLaurin. So that's going to be fun to see 6 times a year. They signed Adoree Jackson from the Titans, which I think will fit right in with their lockdown secondary. I mean, they got James Bradbury. They got Adoree Jackson, who was one of the best tackling and run-stopping corners in the league. They got Logan Ryan, who will probably play free safety for him, along with Jabril Peppers. And I think that's a grade A secondary that will lead to nothing but success. And then the third winner is the Bucs. Now, the Bucs didn't really go and sign anybody, but what they did do is they re-signed everybody. They just won the Super Bowl, and literally every single player that needed to be re-signed, aside from Antonio Brown, which we'll get to later, has been re-signed. I don't think AB is going to go back to the Bucs, but everybody else has been re-signed. So that's a win, especially coming off of a Super Bowl winning season. Biggest losers. I think it goes without saying that the biggest losers of free agency and the offseason in general, the Houston Texans. They lost J.J. Watt. They're going to lose Deshaun Watson, whether the ownership likes to admit it or not. There's all sexual assault scandals and whatnot flying around Deshaun Watson's name.
News cap.
I believe it's a lot of cap, but you just really don't know until that all clears up. I mean, he's going to be gone regardless if this is real or fake. He's going to be gone. It's just when are they going to do it? The longer they hold on to him, the more his trade value dips. And just those 2 moves alone for the Texans. I mean, they've lost other players, but those 2 moves alone just killed anything the Texans had. I mean, the only signings they've made signings of very old veterans. I mean, Andre Roberts, they signed
running backs.
They signed Mark Ingram. I mean, Andre Roberts he's a receiver, but he's a kick returner. Mark Ingram is past his prime, way past his prime. He's like 31, 32 now, I think. So they're just signing old vets to fill out the roster for the season. The Texans are going to be bad for a long time. The second losers, I have the Raiders. The Raiders lost damn near their entire offensive line aside from Colton Miller. They traded Trent Brown back to the Patriots for scraps. They got rid of Gabe Jackson. They got rid of Rodney Hudson, who went to Arizona. Derek Carr is going to be running for his life for a quarterback who doesn't do that.
Right.
The only people they signed Yannick Ngakoue, who I don't think is necessarily a bad signing per se, but they're going to probably play him at linebacker, and I don't think that he's a outside linebacker per se. He played
No.
outside linebacker for the Ravens, and he just didn't have the same impact he did when he played defensive end in Jacksonville. So I don't really think that's a great fit. As great as a pass rusher and as bad as a run stopper he is, I just think defensive end is where he does the most damage. And the last is the Titans. And the Titans isn't because they signed anybody to any bad contracts or whatnot. The Titans lost a lot of players. They lost Corey Davis. They lost Adoree Jackson, Malcolm Butler, Jonnu Smith, and those are, I mean, Malcolm Butler, not too much, but those are focal points of a team, especially on an offense that thrived so good last year. And Corey Davis had his best season of his career, is now going to the Jets. Jonnu Smith broke out last year. I mean, you could argue he's a top 5 tight end after his season last year. Now he's headed to New England with Hunter Henry, and now you really just got to look and see the Titans aren't going to be able to fill many holes. And they lost Clowney, too. Wow, it's not technically that they've lost him yet, but he's probably not going to re-sign. And not that he made much of an impact. Clowney is, in my opinion, beyond washed and nothing more than a run stopper these days. But the Titans have just lost so much talent that they're not going to be able to replace soon.
Okay. Go ahead, Justin. You could name players, too, who you think had a certain player had a good offseason.
Winners, honorable mention. I'm gonna say the Chargers because they're getting Herbert the O-line. The Chargers are coming next year. I'm gonna just say that. But I gotta agree with Austin. I like Tampa. Breeze, they reconstructed his contract, making sure that he stays, making sure everybody stays. I like that. You saw the Chiefs trying to do that with Mahomes' contract. I don't even know why he took that contract in the first place. And also Tyreek Hill said he won't be redoing his contract, so that's something. Another winner, definitely the Patriots. Obviously, Bill Belichick, he wasn't playing around this offseason. He obviously has something to prove. Cam Newton also has something to prove. Just will he prove it? Because last year he had something to prove, but yeah, we know what happened. And the last team, it's hard with this last team. I might say Giants. I'm gonna say Giants just because, but it's a iffy because Daniel Jones is still the quarterback. You feel me? So it's like if you looked at the roster without looking at the quarterback, you'd be like, oh, they could do something. They could do this. And you could look at Daniel Jones, it's like, oh, okay. So they could go like 9-7, 10-6. Yeah. It all depends on how Daniel Jones plays. But I put the Giants at that third spot for sure. But my losses, Texans, what's obvious doesn't have to be explained. Austin already basically took all the words out of my mouth. So then the Raiders, they're going to trade it away and didn't re-sign their O-line, none of their O-line, so they're gone. Nelson Aguilar is gone. That was probably his breakout year there. So and then my last, this is tough. I have no idea. Honestly, I have no idea. In my opinion, as a Ravens fan, I'm gonna put us up there at third. But listen, all right, we got an O-line from the Giants. It's cool. I like him. I hope he does great things for that O-line. I hope he replaces Marshall Yanda, fills in that role. The receiving core. I think we knew I was getting to that. We just signed Sammy Watkins to a 1 year, I think $6 million deal. He cool. He was cool, but I don't see him as a number one receiver anymore. He used to be when he was with the Bills. He went to the Chiefs and turned into a number two. So I don't think he can go back to being a number one after being a number two after all this time. So it's like being next to Tyreek Hill for all those years. I don't think he got it anymore. I just don't think he has it anymore. Everybody, I'm looking. All the Ravens fans are like, "Oh my gosh, we got a number one receiver," and I'm over here like, "No," because it's like the chances of I see Sammy Watkins getting like 500 yards through the first like 4 games and then falling off. It's like he'll probably end the season 700, 800 yards. I say 4 touchdowns. Like I don't see great things coming out of Sammy Watkins. That's why I'm not too pressed. So it's like if Sammy Watkins does bad, it's like the haters are waiting. The haters are waiting because if Sammy Watkins does bad, they're going to blame it on Lamar because, oh, y'all got yourself a number one receiver and he still can't, I didn't say I don't like this signing. I like the signing, but I don't consider him as a number one, as a true number one. So I would have to put us at 3 because we literally sat back and let Kenny go, Allen go, Corey go. We let all these people go by and we settled for Sammy Watkins. Now AB is still out there. Could probably make a push for AB, but I'm hearing talks about Seattle and all that stuff. I don't know. But as of right now, my team is the third loser.
Okay. Y'all have some interesting teams, players as well. For me, my number one, I think it's easy for me. I got to go with the Bucks because they're the first team since 1979 to re-sign all 22 starters and have them back for next year. After winning a Super Bowl, they extended Tom Brady, like you said, 2 years, 2 more years for $50 million. Got Gronk back for a year, $8 million. Shaq Barrett for 3 years, $51 million. Vontae David, 2 years, $25 million. And then they franchise tag Chris Godwin this year. And, bringing that, like Brady, that's what Brady wanted. He wanted the squad to come back and got his wish. Call it the Brady effect, in my opinion. So that's my number one. Number 2, this is hard. I was thinking between. I like the Patriots, the moves they made. They made a lot of moves, like you were saying. I really like the tight ends they got, Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry, because we know Cam Newton, he likes throwing to bigger receivers like he did in Carolina because that's all he really had to work with besides CMC. So now he got Hunter Henry, a great vertical threat down the field. Jonnu Smith can do it all. I like those 2 players being signed. However, their defense, they took Matt Judon from the Ravens. That's a big loss for the Ravens, in my opinion. They got Kyle Van Noy, like Austin said. They got a bunch of trades going. We got Trent Brown and Marcus Canyon from Houston. I like those 2 pickups a lot. So I like the Patriots pickups the second best, in my opinion, from this free agency. We're going to get into them actually sooner about like how they will all work together. But I got them number 2 with the best free agency moves. And then number 3, this is a surprise, but I gotta go with Buffalo. Buffalo. They were able to re-sign Darrell Williams for 2 years, $17 million. John Feliciano, a year, $5 million. Matt Milano, their middle linebacker, played great in the playoffs. Re-signed him for 2 years, $22 million. Able to extend Micah Hyde. They released John Brown, which I thought was a good release because he was dealing with injuries this past season. And they picked up Emmanuel Sanders to replace his spot. Let's see if Emmanuel got some gas left in this tank. Him, Stephon Diggs, the year he just had, and Cole Beasley, he had a good year as well. I would like to see them get like a running back out the draft. I feel like that will be a big piece of their offense that will really help them. But
For sure.
and they got Mitchell Trubisky to back up Allen just in case. But I really like the Bills' moves this offseason. I feel like they can get better through the draft as well. But on to the losers. Losers. I gotta go with Baltimore. They fail to get one of the big targets like Allen Robinson and Kenny Galladay to help Lamar, who literally just won MVP not too long ago. You would be thinking he would get some more help out there, but he hasn't received that yet. Y'all said he got the O-line, and that's cool, from the Giants. Kevin Zeitler, I think his name is. But they lost a lot of pass rushes this off. Their front is hurt on the defensive side, which honestly I thought was their best thing about them. You know, they still got a good secondary, but they're losing a lot of people up front in that front seven. Like we said, Matthew Judon left, and they also lost C.J. Mosley to the Jets like 2 years ago, but they replaced him with Patrick Queen. So they're getting a little bit weaker, and they were even talking about releasing Calais Campbell at the beginning, but it doesn't seem like they'll do that. So, well, he's getting old anyways. So they're gonna need to revamp that front seven soon, in hopes they re-sign Lamar next year to help him get, probably to the conference championship game at least, in my opinion, before he resigns. But I definitely got them up there as the biggest loser. Second biggest loser, this is a player. I gotta go with Russell Wilson. You're gonna be stuck in Seattle. I mean, you won out, but it looks like you're not gonna be able to leave Seattle. So he's gonna have to come back to that tension O-line. They have a lot of tension now because Russell Wilson created. So good luck next year getting protected. That's all I got to say about them. And their defense is still lacking. They haven't made any moves. They lost Shaquille Griffin to the Jags. That's a big hurt for them in the secondary. And Bobby Wagner, he's only going to get older. And Jamal Adams, he just got there. So hopefully some free agent or draft pick they get learn from those two guys and help build their defense up for next year. The third biggest loser from free agency, I was thinking about the Texans, but y'all hit all the points with Houston. So the third biggest loser, I got to go with Ryan Fitzpatrick. This is a surprise. Ryan Fitzpatrick, he signed with the football team this offseason. They just signed Taylor Heineke for 2 more years. Now, if he doesn't get the starting job, he's just going to be backup quarterback. And he doesn't want to be backup. From his time in Miami, we've seen how he felt when Tua took his job. So imagine if he lost his job to Taylor Heineke. And I have a prediction: the football team drafts a quarterback this year's draft. I'm thinking Mac Jones or Kyle Trask is maybe who they draft. So he's going to be stuck in a quarterback battle with those three possibly coming up next year. And he just got paid, and we all know he wants to start with that Fitzmagic trend that's going on. So if he's not starting next year, I feel like he's going to look lost. He's going to be pretty upset, in my opinion. But that's who I got. My winners for the off season.
I do want to throw one thing out there. If you're talking about players, I think one of the biggest winners in terms of players is Kyler Murray. He got AJ Green and he got his center finally in Rodney Hudson. I think they have one of the best O-lines possibly in football now, and he got another target to add to that dangerous receiver corps.
They did what on defense? Okay.
Yo, thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, like, subscribe, turn post notifications on so you know when we post next. All right, peace.